children, good morning. I hope all of you are fine, healthy and safe at home, following the precautions that you have to. So by this time we have to start our classes, but as it is a pandemic period and it is taking a long break, so our school took an initiative in conducting an online classes. So make sure that you listen to the videos from the starting to the ending and complete the assignments also, which are attached at the ending of the video. Yes, so without any further delay, let's get into our class. Yes children, let's start with our first topic, that is computer language. So in order to know about computer language, let's know about language first of all. So what is a language? So a language is a medium to communicate and express our views and feelings. So a language is a medium that a communication that happens from a person to person. Okay, any person with one language can communicate easily, but different languages, if one person is of Hindi and another person is of Telugu, they cannot communicate properly, as they need some mediator. Okay, that mediator is known as interpreter. So further when we get into the class, we'll know about interpreter and all. So in order to communicate with the computer, we need a common language. So let's see what is that common language. So if people wanted to speak about each other, they need a common language that both of them can understand and talk. Okay, so yes, as computer is a machine, it cannot understand our human language. So it can understand only binary language and binary codes, that is zeros and ones. It cannot understand our own language, that like Hindi and Telugu or English, but it can understand only the language that is of codes, that is binary codes. Okay, so it understands only two states of switches, that is 0 and 1. So on means code 1 and off means code 0. So it has only two modes of understanding, so 0 and 1. So these codes are called as binary codes. So a computer understands which language? Binary language that resembles in binary codes, that is zeros and ones. Okay, so a computer can understand only binary language, that is zeros and ones. Okay, next, so let's see how many types of computer languages are there. So here we can see 4. The first language as machine language, that is the first generation, and the second generation as assembly language, and the third generation as high level language, and fourth generation language. So we have 4 types. We'll get into each topic in depth. Okay, so first we'll get into first generation as machine language. So what is a machine language? So it is the only language that a computer understands. So it is expressed in binary forms, that is 0 and 1. 0 means off state and 1 means on state. Okay, so yes, machine language has a very high speed and very low memory utilization also. So yes, a memory is a place where the computer stores all the data. Okay, so here machine level language is also known as low level language, and this language is coded in binary language. So binary means what? Zeros and ones. So make sure that a machine language is also known as low level language, and the codes that we use is known as binary language in the machine language. Please don't get confused children. So machine language which is also known as low level language, but it uses a binary code. Okay, that is zeros and ones. Okay, so let us understand. So it is very difficult to write and debug the programs, so it is a very low level language. Okay, so make sure from this machine level language we have learned that it is also known as low level language, and it understands zeros and ones, and that zeros and ones is known as binary language. Okay, so next, here 0 represents off state, that is no electric pulse. Okay, so then 1 represents on state, that is presence of electric pulse. Okay, so make sure that you remember this concept, that is in machine language we have zeros and ones. Okay, next, every instruction should be written in zeros and ones only. So here In a computer language, for a computer to understand, it can understand only zeros and ones. So in order to write any instructions for a computer to understand, we have to write it in a format of 0010. We have seen a format here. Here in this format we have to write the code. So it can, in whichever language we write, it converts that code into this zeros and ones format. You have to understand this, okay? So in whichever language we write, so there will be an interpreter or compiler that converts our language into machine understandable language, that is zeros and ones always. Whatever we write, those instructions are all converted into zeros and ones, okay? So here it is a combination of instructions is known as a program. So these instructions that we are writing is known as a program, okay? So remember that a computer can understand a machine language, and that language is zeros and ones, and that for that zeros and ones we are writing instructions, okay? So these instructions are combined to form a program. So a program is a set of instructions which tells the computer what to do. So the process of writing specific instructions in a computer is called as programming. So the programming written in machine language are called as object programs. So make sure that you are clear with the concept of machine language and what is a program and what is an instruction. A machine language is a language that can understand only zeros and ones, and with all the combination of zeros and ones is known as instruction, and those instructions can be written in a program, and that program is a set of instructions. Make sure that you remember this concept. Next, so what is next generation language? We have second generation as assembly language. So what is assembly language? So this language uses mnemonic codes or symbols in places of zeros and ones, okay? So yes, mnemonic codes are short names given to an instructions. So here we can see in the picture that we can see some mnemonic codes. For example, add AX. This is a mnemonic code for this 1100. Okay. So for add we have one mnemonic code. Okay. So this language uses mnemonic codes or symbols in places of zeros and ones. So for example, in a machine language, if the operation code for add is 0010, it is equivalent in the assembly language, that is add. So for the add, the mnemonic code is 0010. So no, we know what 0010 is. 0010 is a machine language where add is a mnemonic code. Okay. So for this add, we have a mnemonic code called as 0010. Okay, we can take an example like that. So here we can see in the picture assembly language, assembler and machine language. So assembly language is what we write, add is an mnemonic code. So we give off that code. Okay, we give the set of instructions in a mnemonic code, that is add, sub, all these. So assembler, it converts that language into machine understandable language. So this assembler is a mediator which converts assembly language into machine language so that machine can understand that language. Okay, make sure that you are clear with this concept of assembly language. So here next we get into another topic. So the program written in assembly language is called as source program. So the program written in assembly language is called as source program. So here we can see in this we have some codes. So this is all known as source program. In this white picture, in this picture we have a white color board. On that we have a black color letters. So that black color letters is known as a source code and assembler. Here this assembly language will send that code to assembler, and the assembler, the mediator, will convert that code into machine language, that is machine understandable language, into zeros and ones. Okay, clear? Next, the assembly language should be translated into machine language, so then only a computer can understand, then only the computer can execute or understand the code. Okay, next, so who is this assembler and what is the role of this assembler? So assembler is a software program that translates assembly language into machine language. So make sure that you're thorough with the concepts of assembly language, assembler and machine language. So assembler is a software program, means it is a software that can translate assembly language into machine language. So what is a software? A software is a set of programs. So we know what is a program. A program is a set of instructions. Okay, a software is a set of programs, means a combination of instructions, programs, combines a combination of a software. Okay, clear? I hope this concept is clear. We'll get into further. So next, high level language. So what is high level language? So in this high level language, it uses English like language. Okay, so here we can see a picture, machine language that is written in codes and assembly language that is written in mnemonic codes, whereas high level language that is C, C++, Java, means these are the programming languages. So a program is a set of instructions. So why we need programming? A programming, so yes children, here we can take one example, like in the phones, while we are using phones, we play many games, many video games, so many games we play. So behind that game there is some programming involved. So a programming which was done by someone in order to play that game, in order to play the roles. Okay, so understand it children. So make sure that you are thorough with the concept of programming. So a program is a set of instructions. So instructions given by the programmer. So a programmer gives the instructions based on the language. So here we have high level languages, that is C, C++ and Java. So in order to create a game, we have some languages in order to create a game. So based on that language and the instructions, we create a game. Okay, so by creating that game, we play it, we use it in many of the ways. Okay, so every applications, even the phone, the APK files also has some coding involved. Whatever applications we are using, those all has some programming involved. So that is why the programming is that much important children. Make sure that you are thorough with the concept. So yes, in this high level language, we will see what does it do. So a software program called interpreter is used to translate high level language into machine level language. Again, here also we need an interpreter, because high level language program which consists of source program, we know what is a source program, that was written in C, C++ and Java languages. Okay, that is known as a source program. And interpreter which converts that source program into machine understandable language. Okay, so that machine understandable language is known as object program. Okay, object means something. Okay, so make sure that you understood this concept also. A software, we know a software is a set of programs and a program is a set of instructions. Yes, okay. An interpreter which converts, so here we'll see about interpreter also. So interpreter, yes, here interpreter, this is a translator, and compiler is also a translator. So this interpreter, what does it do? So it translates every code line by line. So it converts one line at a time and executes the instructions and then repeats the procedure for remaining instructions. Okay, so it converts from one line to another line. So after converting one line, it gets into another line. After converting that line, it gets into another line. Means line by line it will go and check and execute it. So if in case of any errors are found, they are to be immediately removed. So if any errors are found, they are to be removed, but we cannot do any correction regarding that errors. So errors means we know some mistakes in the program. So the converted form is not stored anywhere and has to be generated at the time of execution of program. So while conversion is going on, we cannot change anything when the program is converting. Okay, interpreter programs are preferred for beginners as well as slow in execution speed. So it is mainly interpreter programs will be there which converts line by line code. So those are only specifically designed for beginners. So yes, here we can say an example. Suppose the French president is visiting India on an official tour. In order to understand each other, both French president and the Indian president minister required an interpreter who can interpret French language into English language and vice versa. I hope you understood this concept, children. So here by this example we can understand that the French president is visiting in India on an official tour. So he don't know the language which the Indians speak. So he need an interpreter, means he need a mediator to communicate from one language to another. So in order to understand each other, both president, first French president as well as Indian prime minister required an interpreter. So who can interpret French language into English language and vice versa. So here that's why that is the importance of interpreter. So yes, we'll get into the concept of compiler. So compiler is a translator program used to convert a high level language program into machine language. So we know what are the high level languages, that is C, C++, Java. So you may not understand now, children, you may not understand the concept of what is C, C++, Java, those programs, but while getting into the further classes you will be able to get to know. Okay, so yes, high level language into machine language, it translates the whole program at once. So here interpreter, we can find the difference between interpreter and compiler. Compiler, what it does, it translates the whole program at once, means not line by line. It takes up the whole code and translates it. It generates the object code from the program along with the list of errors. So we get the list of errors quickly, so that we can, if any further execution also which can be done fast by the compiler, so we can check the errors and we can change the errors also. So we can correct the errors also. Okay, yes. So mainly we have to concentrate in this topic is what is the difference between interpreter and compiler. So here we can understand the speech. Here in the example they have given French president and Indian prime minister. So interpreter, what it does means, if a French president speaks the whole sentence, means one line by line he translates, but the compiler, while coming to the compiler, the whole paragraph whatever he speaks, that he will compile, means he will translate at a time, not line by line. So you have to understand it. I hope you understand this concept, children. So let's move further. So yes, what is a compiler? So source program, we know what is a source program, normally a program written in high level language program. So okay, that is known as a source program. In source high level language means we are giving up only a one name, but it has many programming languages involved. So here this compiler which translates this source program into target program. So normally the equivalent program in machine code is relocatable object file. So make sure source program, compiler, target program, and if we get any error messages we can correct them. Okay, so after speaking, if a French minister is speaking to the prime minister, Indian prime minister, after speaking out everything, he can check the errors and he can correct them. Okay, what are the mistakes and all. So make sure that this example you understood. Yes, we'll go further. So yes, these are the examples of high level languages. So what are the high level languages? That is Logo. Logo is a programming language. C is a programming language. C++, Visual Basic, Basic and Java. So these all are programming languages, children, that we have to keep it in mind. So high level languages are these. So if someone asks you what are the high level languages, you have to tell that C++, Java, Visual Basic, Logo and all these. So in this high level languages we write the coding in regarding this using these languages. In high level language we write the coding regarding these languages. You have to remember that. Okay, so yes, next is fourth generation language. So what is a fourth generation language? So fourth generation languages are closer to human language than any other high level languages. Okay, it is similar to the human language. So fourth generation language is a combination of languages with the following features. We will see what are the following features. Those are highly user friendly and very high speed of execution, so designed to reduce level of programming efforts and minimum efforts from the user to obtain any information, and designed to reduce the overall time it takes to develop a software at the cost of a software development. Okay, so make sure this generation language is a very much closer to the human language, and it is a combination of languages with the following features. Those features are high user friendly and very speed of execution, and designed to reduce the level of programming efforts, means it reduces the instructions written in the programming languages to a very low level, and minimum efforts from the user to obtain any information, means minimum effort means less efforts were required. So it is designed to reduce the overall time. Okay, it reduces so much of time. Yes children, it reduces so much of time, and it mainly from the fourth generation languages we can learn that it is high user friendly, it reduces the overall time. Okay, so yes, we'll see the overall glance at a time. So yes, these are the languages that we have covered in this session, languages and features. So machine. So uses, what does machine language do? It uses binary codes. Okay, and it is machine dependent. Independent means we are not relying on anyone for anything, but dependent means we are depending on someone to do something. Okay, so only language directly understood by a computer. So this is machine language is the only language, means this is a low level language which can be understood by the computer. So we know what are the codes written in it, that those are known as binary codes, and that binary codes is known as a binary language in the machine level language. Next, assembly language. We have seen what is assembly language. We use codes, mnemonic codes or symbols in order to convert. So we use here one translator that is known as assembler. So that is a software which converts assembly language into machine language. So what is machine language? Zeros and ones. So mnemonic codes, we know that is add is one mnemonic code. So for that the code in machine language is 0010. Okay, so as of that it converts. So here we have one translator that is assembler, and assembler is a software. Clear? So next, high level. So this is high level language which uses English words, and it is machine independent, means which does not depend on anyone for anything, means those programs which are we are using in this high level language are not dependent but are independent, means they can work anywhere, anytime, on any system. Okay, so dependent means which is only dependent on one system, whereas independent means which works on any of the other systems also. Okay, so has to be converted into machine language by using the translators. Here we have two translators, that is interpreter and compiler. So interpreter which converts the code, whole code at a time, whereas compiler which converts the code line by line. Okay, so next, fourth generation language. So it is machine independent and minimal user skills required to obtain results, and application development tool. So we know what is an application. It is app. The apps we are using now, those are known as applications. So minimum user skills means fourth generation languages, it highly reduces the efforts, means time consuming is reduced, and the efforts means it reduces the whole efforts kept by the user, but it has a high reliability skills, high user friendly skills, and it is very high speed of execution, and it reduces the minimum efforts kept by the user. So it is mainly designed to reduce the level of programming efforts kept by the programmer. I hope the concept. So this is the bit part, children. Make sure you complete these notes. So a dash is a set of instructions which tells the computer what to do is a program, and development of computer languages can be classified into four categories, that is we know machine level language, assembly level language, high level language, and fourth generation language. So dash language converts set of binary numbers. So we know what are the binary numbers, that is zeros and ones, so that is machine language. So Dash was the first interactive computer game. So I told you the computer games are designed by the using programming. So that is spacebar. So Dash language uses English words and mathematical operators, that is known as high level language. So Dash language uses mnemonic codes, that is assembly. So Dash was the first computer language for writing artificial intelligent programs. So that is LISP, that is locator identifier separation protocol. Okay, so yes, make sure that you complete the notes which was given. So here in the application based questions, you can see Kapil's aunt was a computer programmer during the third generation of computer language. Which kind of language was she using then? Third generation we know, that is high level language. So Summit is trying his hand in Java programming, but he does not know which type of language it is. Help him. So that is Java is what? High level language. So yes. Next, match the following. A programmer written in assembly language is called what? Source program. And Dash converts a high level language program into machine language. We know which interpreter, which translator it is, that interpreter. Next, the program converted into machine level language by the translator is called object program. So here machine level language, that is known as object program, whereas from the source, so from the source means from assembly level language is known as source program, high level language is known as source program. Okay, but this machine language is known as a object program. So next, the term software was developed by John W. Turkey. So yes, make sure that you complete these answers also, children. So yes, here we can see what do you mean by machine language, how is assembly language different from machine language, you can differentiate it, and what are the features of high level language, and differentiate between interpreter and compiler. So yes, after this complete the assignment also. Who is the first programmer who invented the machine language, who invented assembly language, who invented the term software, who invented high level language, and fourth generation language. Make sure that you complete the assignment also. And thank you children for listening to the class.